We are back on BTN Live. Rick Pizzo, Brandon Williams, and Jim Miller. Our next guest, fellas, one of the most famous and most fervent Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans in the entire world. He's also now a Fox colleague of ours, hosting Crowd Goes Wild on FS1. A big Friday BTN Live welcome to Regis Philbin. All right, Regis, we're like 24 hours from a Notre Dame kickoff this weekend against Michigan State. What are your Fridays like? Are the juices already flowing?
Yeah, I get very excited by Friday about whoever we're playing, especially Michigan State. The games have always been close, always been great, and I go all the way back to Biggie Munn versus Frank Leahy when I was going to Notre Dame. So they're very, very important games to me. But here's what I don't like about the whole thing. You guys played nobody for the first 3 games. You warmed up with nobody. Are you embarrassed? You played Youngstown. Please.
I mean, we got to give Jim Miller a chance to respond here.
I mean, I can step in here. I'll speak for the Spartans, Regis. And, hey, I was brought up under George Perlis at Michigan State. We know about the rivalry. Michigan State-Notre Dame goes back to 1966, the game of the century. Certainly it was before my time, but Biggie Munn, Duffy Daugherty, George Perlis always educated us. What does this rivalry mean to you?
It means a great deal. I think it's one of the great rivalries we have. And in a way, I'm glad they continued it with Michigan State instead of getting rid of it as they did with Michigan.
So, Regis, let's go to Saturday before the game. The viewers want a glimpse of what it's like to watch a football game with Regis Philbin. Do you have on Notre Dame face paint and jerseys, and are you yelling at the TV?
No, I yell a little bit at the TV, but no face paint. But I got you guys all figured out. Listen, I have a guy that I went to school with who runs 6 paint stores in Lansing, Michigan, will be at that Michigan State game, told me who to look out for. It's the quarterback you discovered in your last half of game against Youngstown last Saturday. Cook, his name is. He's a red-shirted freshman, came on, threw 4 touchdown passes. You just took a chance on him because you were playing Youngstown, and you couldn't lose to Youngstown, could you?
Now, I got to be honest with you, fellas. I love sitting up here, but the kind of knowledge that Regis is dropping right now, if you guys aren't able to be here on a Friday, I mean, we may have to see if we can welcome him here into Chicago.
Well, if we're going to talk X's and O's, Regis, let me get into this because I'm with you, and I think Rick brings up a good point about your Notre Dame knowledge. Now, let's be honest, this Michigan State defense is pretty good now. Tommy Rees could be in for the game of his life. These guys can hit.
No, you got a great defense. That's what you got. You didn't have any offense until you found this kid, and the kid is going to be at Notre Dame, actually, I think, starting the game. We'll see how good he is then. But you do have a good defense, and that does bother me. Tommy Rees is a good quarterback, solid guy, good passer, doesn't run, but I think he can do it.
All right, so Regis, you brought up...
I'll bet Cook gets a little frightened when he gets into Notre Dame Stadium. And there's the Golden Dome looking down at Cook. He's going to get nervous. He's going to get panicky. He's going to be like you were.
You know Regis is excited. Look at that. He's out of his chair. Regis actually came out of his chair. All right, Regis, a couple of minutes ago, you brought up Michigan, and you said you were more excited about the fact, or that you liked the fact that they kept the Michigan State rivalry. The Michigan rivalry is not there. And it's not just the Michigan rivalry. A lot of stuff changes, Regis, with these ACC ties and the fact that Notre Dame has some obligations to play ACC teams. Where do you stand on Notre Dame's independent status and what they have to do to kind of continue in today's world of college football?
I'm very disappointed in the fact that we are now no longer independent. I always like to be independent. But now we're involved with the ACC. We got 5 games or 5 teams in that conference that we have to play, and that diminishes, I think, the quality of the teams that we are used to playing every year. And one of them was Michigan.
Well, let me ask you for your standpoint on this, Regis. Would you have liked Notre Dame to have joined the Big Ten? This has been a long time in the making. You know, you think about when Penn State first came into the Big Ten. Notre Dame was given the first offer, and would you have liked to have been a part of the Big Ten?
No, I don't want to be a part of the Big Ten. I want to be independent. What's wrong with you guys out there in Chicago?
He wants nobody determining who they play or when they play.
No one.
Oh, you are someone, my friend.
Independent and play whoever comes our way, and then continue to play them year after year after year.
Like I said, the one thing that we certainly know about Regis Philbin, we know where he stands. I mean, there is no gray area, my friend. We know exactly where you stand on Notre Dame Fighting Irish football, don't we?
Well, let me ask you something. How do you feel about tomorrow's game? Do you think Michigan State's going to win?
I think Michigan State has a chance. Yeah, I think Michigan State has a chance. And Tommy Rees, this isn't Youngstown State when you talk about Michigan State's defense. You know, they lead the Big Ten in sacks. They can get after quarterbacks that sit in the pocket. So, yeah, I think defense alone gives Michigan State a shot.
Well, that's what interests me about the game and makes me a little frightened, too. The fact that I know you got a good defense, and all of a sudden, here's this kid quarterback nobody thought about, redshirt quarterback, coming in the last half of the game against Youngstown, and all of a sudden, the kid's on fire. I'm worried about him, to tell you the truth.
Should be interesting. Connor Cook and that defense into South Bend. Will they be able to hang tough with Regis Philbin's Fighting Irish? Regis,
he's going to be a little intimidated, I'm telling you. You know that.
Hey, thanks.
Dude Rocky, Regis Philbin, all those names mean something out there.
Thanks so much for the time, Regis. Don't forget, Crowd Goes Wild, 5 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. Hope the show is going as well as you hoped it would go, Regis.
Thanks a lot. It's going fine, just fine here. Thanks very much for inviting me, guys. I enjoyed it.